regular style of writing. Right from the first word and the first sentence she writes, she has you hooked. And then her entire...
इससे पहले कि मैं पढ़ूं कुछ इसमें
पूरी डिटेल में बता
जी हुआ ये कि एक मैगजीन था जिसमें भावना जी और इनकी एक कलीग थी पम्मी बख्शी, दोनों काम करते थे। पम्मी बख्शी मेरी दोस्त थी, तो मैंने एक दिन इन दोनों की तस्वीर उसी मैगजीन में आई जिसमें पढ़ती हैं, तो भावना का फेस मुझे बड़ा अट्रैक्टिव लगा, बड़ी बड़ी आँखें, बड़ा गहरा एक्सप्रेशन। तो मैंने कहा भाई अपनी दोस्त से तो मिलवाओ मुझे कभी, है तो बड़ी अट्रैक्टिव लड़की लगी। तो उन्होंने कहा अच्छा ठीक है मिलवाऊंगी। मैं उन दिनों किसी पिक्चर के डायलॉग लिख रहा था जो हॉलीडे हुआ करता था, मालिक लोग यहाँ बैठे हैं, तो मैं बहुत इनके होटल में मैंने अपनी ज़िंदगी गुजारी है, तो मैं उस वहाँ डायलॉग लिखता था अक्सर जाके। तो एक दिन मुझे पम्मी बख्शी का नीचे से फ़ोन आया कि तुम नीचे आ जाओ, या मैं भी आई हूँ, मेरी दोस्त भावना भी मेरे साथ है। तो मैं गया नीचे, लॉन में जो स्विमिंग पूल के पास वहाँ टेबल रखी थी, वहाँ बैठे और हमने कॉफ़ी मंगाई। तो इनसे पहली बार बातचीत वगैरह हुई, ख़त्म हुई मीटिंग। फिर मैंने, चूँकि मैं तो रहता ही था वहाँ, तब बिल साइन कर दिया मैं और मैं ऊपर चला गया। थोड़ी देर बाद मेरे दरवाजे पे नॉक हुई। I opened the door, lo and behold, भावना was standing there. भावना ने कहा देखिए मैं आपसे पहली बार मिली हूँ, मेरे तो आपसे कोई ख़ास रिलेशन है नहीं, आपने मेरी कॉफ़ी का बिल क्यों दिया है? तो ये आप ये पैसे लीजिए। तो 10 का नोट था शायद। तो मैंने कहा कि ठीक है आप सही कह रही हैं, आई अप्रिशिएट दैट, लेकिन कॉफ़ी वहाँ 8 रुपए की थी, तो मैं आपसे 2 रुपए की टिप नहीं लूँगा, तो आप इसकी चेंज करा के लाइए और मैं 8 रुपए आपसे ले लूँगा। तो उसके बाद ये फिर नीचे गई, तो शायद पम्मी ने समझा बुझा के ले गई अपने साथ। तो इस बात को 50 साल होने को आ रहा है, शी स्टिल ओज़ मी 8 रुपए।
कब देंगे?
कमाल नहीं होते, इसलिए कि ह्यूमन बीइंग रियलाइज करता है कि 2 हाथ बहुत कम है। नहीं मुझे तो कॉपी ब्रेल में दी है ना, मैं पढ़ लूँ। अब आप इसमें देखिएगा, ये जो पार्ट है, आई एम सॉरी थोड़ा लंबा है, लेकिन ये कि अगर लंबा है तो भावना से बात कीजिएगा। लेकिन ये कि इसमें आप पर्सनल जो इशू है और जो इस मुल्क में हो रहा था, जो हमारा देश जिस जगह से गुजर रहा था, ये दोनों कैसे इंटरमिंगल्ड हैं, ये मुझे बहुत ही फैसिनेटेड लगा। It was almost 13 years after independence, but the country was facing one crisis after another. There were successive setbacks with wars with China and Pakistan, problem in Kashmir followed by drought and famine. The 1960s also saw the passing away of 2 Prime Ministers, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru in 1964 and Lal Bahadur Shastri in 1966. And the rise of India's first and so far only woman Prime Minister, Mrs. Indira Gandhi. The North-South divide widened with the language riots. By the end of the decade, the Naxalites had become a formidable presence in the country. The political resistance was reflected in social life as well. But my parents were grateful that 6 of their British Indian children who were born before the partition had settled down. The nest was almost empty, but they still had Seema and me. It was a new phase for all of us. Bapuji had to adopt a new routine, and my sister and I had to redefine our relationship with our parents without the bridge of older siblings. Wow. Now we had direct access to our birth givers. To be honest, it felt awkward initially, but slowly we formed a rhythm and played a distinct melody. A dozen grandchildren were added to the family tree, and different siblings in different seasons visited us on occasion. Every trip was a revelation for them and for us too. There were many new observations, new insights, new layers to add old relationships. The taller the grandchildren grew, the frailer my parents became. They talked less, listened more, and my sibling commented on their slow reflexes. Seema and I were not conscious of their aging, but probably because we had never seen them young. In our minds, we were a normal nuclear family, but I guess our older siblings and friends thought otherwise. In the monsoon of 1977, Seema was crossing the road outside her home when a speeding car flung her high and landed her on a stone divider between two roads. A friend in the opposite building, studying with his ground floor window, noticed what happened, rushed out. He picked up bleeding, unconscious Seema and drove her to Sion Hospital in his car. After admitting her to hospital where she was taken to the ICU, he phoned her residence to inform her parents. My parents, now in their late 60s, were frozen into inaction. Somehow my mother mustered courage and contacted all the children, and everybody rushed to the hospital. तो की बादशाहों की, डिक्टेटर्स की, प्राइम मिनिस्टर्स की हिस्ट्री लिखते हैं, लेकिन ये जो किताबें हैं ये कॉमन मैन की हिस्ट्री लिखती हैं, और ये भी उतनी ही इम्पोर्टेंट है जितनी कोई भी हिस्ट्री की किताब, कि इसलिए कि ये इन बुक्स में आपको ये मालूम होता है कि एक आम इंसान पे क्या बीती, एक आम इंसान कहाँ से गुजरा। अब जब गुजरने की आम इंसान की, मैं भी एक आम इंसान हूँ, तो मैं बात यहाँ से शुरू करूँ कि मैं कहाँ से गुजरा हूँ भावना जी के साथ। भावना जी से मेरी मुलाकात जो है वो प्री शबाना डेज की है।
Very universal. Anybody who has faced, who has faced displacement and migration, not necessarily the partition, but migration. I think all of us have. All of us in some way or the other have moved out from our roots and made our homes in different parts of India. It has always fascinated me. Migration has always fascinated me. And so I started reading the book.
थोड़ा और पीछे और थोड़ा और पीछे करो।
May I please ask the author of Farewell Karachi, Bhavna, why did you decide to tell this story and unpack this foundational trauma that you hadn't even thought about until somebody asked you what your biggest fear in life was, and you said, it's not having a roof over my head. And when you began to unpack, where does this feeling of I'm randomly going to be homeless one day come from? And what was that process like to unpack your family story and then to put it so we can get into a discussion? May I please also have Mr. Khanna join us for the unveiling?
आ रहा है।
देखो वहाँ एक बुक वहाँ भिजवा दो।
इससे शादी के इक्वेशन का पता चलता है। अभी जब शबाना जी आ रही थी तो उन्होंने कहा कि दिनेश जी प्लीज कम
Than they should be.
So very often I have told my family that when I'm returning from town in the night, I'm all
Close to going, but something happens. I feel now, Bhavna, now that you've written the book, you will go to Karachi. Because emotionally you've said that and you were longing for it so much that there's a time and place for everything. And now that this book has come out of you, you will go. You will go. I'm sure that day will come. You see, there are there are some, when you know a friend as closely as I know Bhavna, you feel you know it all. I've met all her family, I've met her siblings. I was very close to her mother.
And the public memory of the foundational.
On a smile, please. Direct your smile.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's been an honor, and we hope books like these open up conversations to thinking about how to be good neighbors with one another. Publisher from Bloomsbury, India. And it is such a special moment also because a lot of this story had resonance for me when it landed in my inbox.
He could barely walk, clothes tattered, and shoes lost in the stampede. Babuji limped barefoot, struggling to make it into the market area, and then hopped onto an overcrowded bus to Bhuj. He had no money for the ticket, but the driver allowed him to sit on the floor. It was late at night by the time Babuji arrived in Bhuj, and he still had a mile to walk. He told himself a little more courage, and he would soon be home. After this, it is a description of how, when he reaches home in that state, Ma comes running out, and she takes a while to recognize him and then faints. And this, to me, that entire journey and everything is so picturesque. I mean, the imagery is picturesque is the wrong word for it. The imagery is so stark that I can feel that I was with her father in that boat, sharing what that journey meant to a man who had lost everything, just his will. And he led his life by his will, and I salute her.